In this video, I'm going to share with you what all the Pinterest buzz is about and how you can take your Pinterest efforts to the next level. So what exactly is Pinterest? Well, it really is a fun and dynamic social media platform where you get to showcase your favorite images, fun videos, and a whole lot more. Like other social media platforms, you get to connect with other like-minded people by sharing your hobbies, your interests, and doing it all in a visual way that's showcased on an online bulletin board. Now here's an example of what one of those bulletin boards looks like. Great images in a lot of diverse categories addressing a growing demographic. And we're going to talk about that more in a few minutes because most people think that Pinterest is just for women. And true, when it first launched, it was. But I think you're going to be very surprised to see where the statistics sit today and which direction they're trending. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on Pinterest, they launched in beta in March of 2010. But then quickly rose to fame and were named by Time magazine as one of the 50 best websites of 2011. Now, in December of 2011, they made the top 10 list of the largest social network services with over 11 million total visits per week. Now, in January of 2012, TechCrunch named them the best new startup of 2011. But it gets only better from here. In January of 2012, they generated more referral traffic than LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google Plus combined. Then they surpassed Twitter in February, and then went on to surpass StumbleUpon, Bing, and Google for referral traffic in June. Now, what's really unique is that over 1/5 of Facebook-connected users are on Pinterest daily. That's huge. And the average user spends an hour and 17 minutes on average on Pinterest per day when only 36 minutes are spent on Twitter. It's amazing. Here's a great graph to put their growth into perspective. Over the course of just 8 months, that's all. They went from 130,000 unique visitors to 11.7 million in just 8 months. And it's statistics like this that are grabbing the attention of online marketers, small businesses, large businesses, and drawing their attention towards marketing on Pinterest. Now, women were leading the Pinterest charge when Pinterest first launched, but the numbers are drastically changing. Men are starting to join women on Pinterest. You can see here that in January of this year, it was 80% women and only 20% men. By March, the percentage of men on Pinterest had jumped to 28%, and I read a statistic just earlier this week that said that the percent of women on Pinterest is now 68%, putting the percentage of men at 32%. Now, it completely makes sense that these statistics are changing because it's a natural evolution of what Pinterest really is. If you think about Facebook as an example, when Facebook first launched, it was a college site. It was only for college kids. But look at where Facebook sits today. Pinterest is going through the same metamorphosis of its demographic as more and more people realize the traffic strength and the viral nature of Pinterest. In addition, men are just as visual, if not more so, than women. Therefore, it's easy to understand why that demographic is starting to level out. Now, this is another reason that marketers and businesses are gravitating towards Pinterest, and it's because Pinterest users have above average incomes. As you can see, over 70% of Pinterest users fall between $25K and $75K. Now, why is this important? Because it gives the business owner and the savvy marketer another outlet for showcasing their products or services to a demographic that's in a position to pay. Now, when this infographic was created, this was the top 10 audience interest list. But there's tools and resources available where you can pull this information on a continued basis. But if you look, you'll see that fashion designers and collections are still number one, which was sort of the foundation when Pinterest started. But SEO and marketing, graphic design, public relations, those are all now in the top 10 list, as wider audiences are starting to realize the strength in Pinterest and starting to adopt it into their marketing plans. Now you can also see that Pinterest growth rate, both in terms of the referral percentages and the actual revenue that comes from Pinterest, meaning somebody saw a pin and they took action as a result of that pin while they were on Pinterest. Both of those numbers are growing at staggering rates. But what's really interesting to me is that if you look at the short span of time, in Q2 of 2011, they only represented 1% of all the social media driven revenue that was out there. Fast forward to Q1 2012, and they are already representing 17%, and that number is projected to grow up to 40%, meaning that Pinterest will be responsible for 40% of all social media-driven purchases. Now, when you really think about what that can mean for a business, whether it's online or offline, and I'm going to talk about strategies for both, or for an internet marketer, it really means that Pinterest has become too big to ignore. You can choose to ignore it, but if you do, other businesses are going to be passing you by. This is your opportunity to have access to a traffic gold mine at a point in time when most marketers and businesses don't know how to use Pinterest to the full extent. Here's a really cool thing too, is that buyers that are referred from Pinterest are not only 10% more likely to buy something, but they also spend an average of 10% more than visitors who arrive from other social networks. Now again, when you consider the fact that users on Pinterest have a higher average income, it makes sense. Now this infographic has a lot of great stats in it, so if you'd like to go view the entire infographic, it was created by Tamba, and you can view it at Tamba's website, tamba.co.uk. Now when we look again at the perception that Pinterest is only for women, I want to point out the wide and diverse nature of the brands that are already adopting Pinterest, have pin boards up and available, and are interacting with their target audience through Pinterest. Men's Health, Mashable, which is technology, it's one of my favorite sites. Home Depot, which has some great do-it-yourself tutorials. New York Giants, Ask Men, Boston Celtics, National Guard, obviously the big ones like Starbucks, McDonald's. Even organizations like St. Jude's Children's Hospital are realizing what a great source of referral traffic it is for donations. And organizations like the Cincinnati Zoo are recognizing that it's a phenomenal opportunity to be able to give people a visual experience that entices them to physically come visit the zoo. The point is, Pinterest is growing, not just in the demographics that are attracted to the site, but also in the awareness with brands in terms of what they can achieve with the site. So here's a little tip for you. Repinly.com is one of my favorite sites to go to for current statistics and information on Pinterest. What this graph shows is the wide and diverse nature of the most popular boards that are out there. True Home and Decor still holds an 11% share, but you can see that 23.2% are in remaining categories that are outside of women's apparel, home decor, DIY. Now, since they don't currently have categories that are technically called marketing, SEO, branding, or business, those are the topics that fall into remaining categories that are now becoming bigger than any of the others. So by now, I'm sure you're scratching your head thinking, should Pinterest be a part of your marketing strategy? Well, it all depends. Ask yourself, do you want to leverage a social media platform that brings in more referral traffic than LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube combined? Do you want to enhance and expand your brand awareness in an arena that is proven to generate more sales at higher transaction amounts? Do you want to drive more interaction and engagement with your target audience and give them a fun and visual way to do it? And do you want to boost your SEO rankings with unique images and videos? I didn't really get into it in this video, but with all the recent algorithm changes that Google has made, especially the most recent Penguin release, Google is looking for fresh and unique content to drive your search engine rankings. When you're creating unique images and videos, and you're going to learn more about how you can either do that or outsource it, but when those unique images and videos are being created and then posted to Pinterest. Those are do follow links that are driving your SEO rankings. So how can you get started with Pinterest? So joining Pinterest is very simple. You're just going to go to Pinterest.com and you're going to click on the red button that says Join Pinterest. This will bring you to a screen that actually gives you 3 options for signing up. You can either connect via Facebook, you can connect via Twitter, or you can sign up with your email address. Now, just a quick side note on Facebook, at the time of this recording, you cannot connect it to a business page. You can only connect it to your personal timeline. So just be aware of that when connecting. And then once you've signed up, you'll be able to create your profile, strategically create boards, start pinning and repinning and building a following, and leverage the strength in Pinterest to be able to tap into this significant traffic source. But one word of caution. Whatever you do, don't be haphazard in your approach if you want to be pinfluential. Sure, if you're just getting on there to play and you don't want to use this to grow your marketing or to expand your business, then it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. But if you're going to use this to market your business, if you really want to be pinfluential, then you want to make sure that you're strategic. As Ben Franklin once said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So don't let yourself fall into that trap with Pinterest. Make sure that you create a Pinterest marketing plan, that you determine the theme of your boards and the purpose that each one of those boards will serve. You want to make sure that you use or create videos and graphics that truly captivate and draw the viewer's attention. As with any online venture, you want to measure, test, and track your results, and then continually improve. And there's so much that you can do with Pinterest. So get creative by hosting competitions, featuring client content boards, and more.